Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's podcast. Now, there's plenty to cover this week. We'll start with the headlines. Obviously, Boris's roadmap was laid out on Monday, and that's affected sport in quite a big way. We'll come on to that. We've had the England basically demolition of being demolished by India in the third test in India, and also we have the incident involving Tiger Woods and his crash, which was very unfortunate. So we'll start by talking about the roadmap, and the idea is that fans will be allowed back into sporting venues as of 17th of May. So this brings up lots of questions with regards to whether fans will or will not be allowed back into grounds for the final games of the season for such as the Premier League all the way through right down to the National League. And Halifax do have a home game against Chesterfield on the 29th of May. So maybe we'll be allowed in. And from what I've read this morning from the council and the Holly Lynch, the local MP, they are supportive of getting fans back into the venue, not just for the football, but also for the Halifax Panthers rugby league team. So that sounds positive. So it may well be likely that we'll have fans in for that last game. It is a case of deciding what the official capacity is and then working out what 25% of it is, I believe. So that'll be good. With regards to the Premier League, there's been a bit of uncertainty about whether it's the right thing to do or not, simply because it's going to be just the final game of the season. And I think it's been brought into prominence by the fact that Fulham and Newcastle play each other in the last game of the season. And would it be fair to have fans in on those games when giving maybe Fulham a home advantage? I don't know what you think about that, but they may feel it's unfair. My view is that perhaps we just wait till next season now. For the sake of one game, I aren't that fussed about one match really, to be honest with you. But it'd be nice to go. But with regards to the overall picture, I'm not overly bothered about it. In terms of the way it affects other sports, the Speedway season is now being pushed back 2 weeks, so it'll start on the 17th of May. Bellevue are riding Sheffield on the 17th of May. All six Elite League, or what we call Premiership teams now, will be in action against each other. So that's a good start to the season. The opening stock car meeting, which was planned for Odsal for the 3rd of April, has also been postponed till after the date when the fans can be allowed in. So sometime in May, I think Star Tracks have said for that meeting. And they've said also there's going to be more tickets possibly going on sale on the 5th of April, I think it said. So hopefully I might be able to get a ticket for that now and go and watch that, because I'd like to go. I missed out on the initial 2,000 allocation, so fingers crossed I'll get tickets for that. So that's with regards to sports coming forward. And obviously we've got the Euros as well in the summer. That's been brought up as a topic, suggesting that the whole tournament may be held in England. But there's the people in charge, the organising bodies, UEFA, have said that there's no plans at the moment to do that, but we'll see how that develops. So just keep your eye on that story. It'd be nice to have all of it here. Obviously the semi-finals and the finals are at Wembley, so it's a massive tournament, and I'd like to see England win. Do you think we can win it? Just let me know your views down below on that. So yeah, a big summer of sport is lined up, and look, like I say, hopefully fans will be able to attend most of those events once the majority of the vaccinations have been completed. Moving on to the England cricket test team, and it wasn't a very good result, was it, this week in the third test out in Ahmedabad. The pitch had its part to play. England's batting in the first innings was very poor. We didn't have a lot of chance in the second innings because of the amount of the spinners were getting for India. And like Joe Root said, he took 5 for 8, and he's probably he's basically saying that he's an average spinner. So when you've got people like Akshar Patel and Ravichandran Ashwin, who are highly skilled spin bowlers, they were always going to make it difficult for us in the second innings. It was just that first innings where they battered really poorly, and when they were in a position in the 70s for 2, and we looked like we were in a good position, but it all fell apart after that, and that led to the demise of the team. So I'm guessing there'll be changes for the last match next week. It's going to be tough for England to pull it round. We can't qualify for the World Test Championship final now. India can if they win the last game. If India win, they knock Australia out. Would you rather see India in the final or Australia in the final? Let me know in the comments below. So yeah, I think England will possibly go with 2 spinners in the second game. Whether Dom Bess, they seem to have lost a bit of confidence in Dom Bess. Obviously Leach bowled really well in this game, so he's going to be more or less guaranteed his place. I think I agree with Nasser Hussain in saying that if they're not going to play Bess as well, but they are going to drop. They need to drop one of Anderson, Archer or Broad, and bring in an extra batsman. He suggested Dan Lawrence I guess that's the only real option, to be fair. So, yeah, what do you think about the changed lineup? Have you got any suggested changes to the lineup for the final test? Just let us know in the comments below. Moving on to the story about Tiger Woods and that terrible accident he had where he's badly damaged both his legs. He's got multiple breaks to both legs. People are speculating about, whether he'll be able to play golf again. It's not important at this stage, I don't think. It's more important the fact that he gets his health back on track, and obviously he's got children, so he needs to be there for them as well. He'd only just had the back operation, hadn't he, last week as well, a few weeks ago, and he was talking about trying to get back for the majors this summer. First one I think is in April. That's not obviously not going to happen now, but it was going to be touch and go anyway. So let's hope he recovers quickly from that, and maybe he will be back on the golf course at some time. But I would imagine that's not a priority for him at the moment, and it's going to be somewhere down the line. So now moving on to this week's weekend's football action. Actually, before we go on to that, we'll talk about the Champions League, because Manchester City won their first leg match in the away leg against Borussia Mönchengladbach, even though it wasn't in Germany. And then the night before, Chelsea had also beaten Atletico Madrid in their away match. So it all bodes well. Liverpool having won the week before against Red Bull Leipzig, so they're all coming to the home legs now with a lead. So I'd like to think all three of them will get through. In the Europa League last night, all the British teams apart from Leicester qualified. Bit of a disappointment for Leicester. You could argue perhaps that it's not that important. They want to try and secure the place in the top four to get Champions League football next year. Do you think that might be the case? Maddison being missing was a big miss for them, and I think that may have had some impact. They're a good team of Leicester, but they seem to struggle a bit at home. I think it's because of the style of play and the counter-attack, where they hit them with the pace of Vardy and the midfielders behind him. So we'll be seeing how they get on in the league and see if they can maintain the top four position, because they play Arsenal at home on Sunday lunchtime. I think it's on BT Sport. So that's one of the three big games this weekend, but we'll come on to that in a moment. So Leicester are out. Tottenham won comfortably against Wolfsberger AC. Manchester United won easily. They've already won the first leg 4-0, so they didn't have to do much last night and drew 0-0 in the second leg were Real Sociedad. And Arsenal against Benfica. I watched that game. It was a very good match. It looked like they were going out at one point, but Aubameyang pulled round and made up for last year's glaring miss at the end of the match to knock them out, get them knocked out, and this time he made it and scored a great goal. 2 good assists from Saka as well, so they deserved it on the overall balance of play, I felt. And then Rangers beat Antwerp 5-2 last night to complete a comfortable victory, so they're all through. The draw has just been made for the last 16, and from what I recall, Tottenham are away to Dynamo Zagreb in the first leg. Olympiacos against Arsenal. Arsenal, I think, played there last night. I think their home leg, neutral venue, was actually in that stadium, so they've drawn them now. Manchester United have got a tough match against AC Milan. That'll be very interesting. Looking forward to seeing how that pans out. And Slavia Prague play Rangers, so it would have been Leicester against Rangers possibly if they got through. So at least the British teams have all been kept apart at this stage, because there were no seedings or anything. So do you think any of the British teams that could win the Europa League? I've got a feeling one of them might do. They could even be all a British final, but I'd like to think it would be. But let me know your thoughts on that as well. So now moving on to this weekend's Premier League matches, 3 or 4 big games. You might not have seen this as a big game previously, but tomorrow lunchtime, BT Sport again, Manchester City against West Ham. They're both in the top 4. I think not many people would have thought West Ham would be in the top 4 at this stage of the season, but they're doing really well. They've put together a really good team, and they play as a team. I think that's an important factor in how they've, in the success this season so far. They've got great Souček and Soufal have been good additions to the team. Michail Antonio is always a threat when he's playing. His problem is obviously he gets a lot of injuries, but when he does play, he's certainly a threat. Jared Bowen's been a good addition as well. Declan Rice playing the role that he's good at, sort of like defensive midfield. He's played a big part as well. So, like I said, they've got a good team. So we wouldn't like to think, but you'd think that Man City probably win at home, but simply because of the run of form of 19 games in a row that they've won. But it'll be tough against West Ham, because they'll take it to them, I reckon. So they won't just lie down. Then we've got Leeds against Villa at tea time. I do fear a bit for Villa if they don't have Jack Grealish playing for them tomorrow. Leeds are in good form at the moment. I'd like to think Villa can get something out of the game, but I think, like I said, they'll be up against it without Grealish. Sunday, we've mentioned the Leicester Arsenal game at lunchtime. We've also got a main game on Sunday, tea time on Sky, which is Chelsea against Manchester United. It'll be interesting to see how that one goes. They're both good teams. We've got some good players. Chelsea have done really well under Tuchel so far. Manchester United have got some good players. They've obviously got Fernandes, who's on the rich vein of form at the moment. If you'd like to let me know how you think that game might go, make those comments below. And also Sunday evening, a Liverpool player, Sheffield United, without Jordan Henderson, who's going to be out at least till April after having his operation on his groin last day or so. So, in other news, Wolves, who were away to Newcastle on Saturday evening, I think it is, well, late kick-off. Raul Jimenez is back in some training now, so hopefully it won't be too long before he's back playing again for Wolves after that horrific head injury he had against Arsenal earlier in the season. So that just about covers the Premier League action for this weekend. Big game in the Championship tonight, Derby against Nottingham Forest on Sky. That should be a good one. Always derby games like that are always good to watch, so that'll be worth having a look at if you've got Sky. And this in the National League this weekend, Halifax don't have a game. They've not played now since previous weekend, and other teams are catching up, playing more games, and we've dropped down to 14th in the table. So that's not because they've been playing particularly badly. It's just the way the quirk and the anomalies of the fixtures where they've been this year. It's been such a strange season with teams playing and not playing and playing a glut of games together. It's made it difficult for them. But Town's next game is actually at home on Tuesday night against Hartlepool, and it looks like the forecast's going to be good. So Jeff Stelling won't have anything to whinge about because it probably is going to go ahead this time, and hopefully we'll beat them because they've been a bit whinging recently, and they've whinged about the game at Dagenham being called off last Saturday as well at the last minute. We don't seem to understand it's not all about Hartlepool, it's about everything, it's about football, and if it's not fit to play on, it's not fit to play on, it's unlucky. So yeah, that's what's coming up in the National League. Wrexham have said they're going to pay the players a bonus pot of £250,000 if it can get them promoted. Obviously they've got McElhinney and Reynolds behind them now, the Hollywood actors, so they've got plenty of cash to splash. And one other story was I saw this week that Torquay have signed Scott Bowden on loan for the rest of the season. And personally, I'd like to see him come back to the share. We do need another striker, without any doubt. There was talk that he was an unsettling influence in the dressing room last time he was here. I'm not sure about that. I think it's probably because he were better than the rest of the players, and perhaps they didn't like it because he were playing on a different level to some of the other players we had at that time. And we've seen that before, but it's done now, and it's a shame we didn't get him. But we do need another striker, and we do need to have some reinforcements. And we get another point with regards to the Town squad. Ruben Noble Lazarus, is he ever going to play for us? Tell us what you think about that. He seems to have a setback every so long. I just get rid of him. To be honest with you, he might be skillful, but if he's not going to play, he's pointless. We don't want another Dominic Ludden, which is, in fact, it's worse than Dominic Ludden. At least he played a couple of games. So yeah, there we are with regards to what's going on in the National League. So I'm just trying to think of any other events that we need to cover. Australian Open tennis, Novak Djokovic won comfortably in the final, and Jennifer Brady won. Naomi Osaka beat Jennifer Brady in the women's final last weekend. So it's a bit of a break now till the next major in the tennis world. And I think that's probably just about it with regards to the sporting news that I've got for this weekend. If you've got anything else you'd like to see added to the podcast, or any other subjects that you feel I've missed, just let me know, and I'll try to incorporate that into future podcasts. So for now, thanks for your time, and I'll see you next week.